Trying to keep up with AI, well, it can feel like a lot,
Right.
especially with everything else going on.
It really can. Things move so fast.
Exactly. So that's why we're doing this. Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Think of it as your shortcut to what actually matters in AI right now.
Hmm.
Today, we're digging into some fresh insights from Bain and Company. They've looked closely at the recent Nvidia GTC 2025 event.
Yeah. GTC always has some big announcements. Bain's take is pretty sharp.
Right. And our mission, basically, is to unpack the 9 key shifts they flagged in enterprise AI. What's changing, and maybe more importantly, what does it mean for how businesses are actually using AI now?
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Okay, let's dive in. First big takeaway.
Is it?
It's about data. Its role seems to be evolving, getting more dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the old saying holds true. No data, no AI. You still need that foundation.
Sure.
But what's really interesting now, and Bain highlighted this from GTC, is how AI itself is becoming a data generator. A pretty sophisticated one, actually.
Okay, how so? Generating data.
Well, think about AI systems identifying operational patterns you just couldn't see before, or figuring out best practices, like right in the middle of a customer interaction.
Ah, okay.
And then it makes those insights available, right away for use or for refining things later.
Wow, okay. So it's not just feeding data in anymore. The AI is actually creating useful data out. That feels like a big step.
It is.
And I guess this also means generative AI is maybe helping with those classic data headaches we always hear about.
Definitely. Gen AI is turning out to be really good at tackling some of those persistent problems, like searching through vast amounts of information much faster and more accurately. It can give confidence scores on data quality, which is super helpful, and even create synthetic data to fill gaps where maybe real-world data is sparse.
Synthetic data. Interesting. So creating data that looks real but isn't to train the model.
Exactly. Augmentation. And if you connect this back, for everyone listening, Bain talks about companies building data flywheels.
Flywheel.
Yeah, by investing in feedback loops, making changes based on AI insights, acting on them, each cycle makes the whole thing smarter.
Right, it builds momentum.
Precisely. And it suggests that the data you're probably already collecting, it could have hidden value that AI can unlock. Plus, you're creating new kinds of data just by interacting with these AI systems.
That flywheel idea is powerful. Okay, so data is not just fuel, it's an output too. Got it. Let's move to the second theme. This one's about AI models themselves. Seems like we're shifting away from huge general models towards smaller, more specialized ones.
Yeah, that's a really clear trend being pointed out. The focus is shifting, away from those giant do-everything models towards smaller systems, fine-tuned for specific jobs or industries. And it's not just theoretical. There are practical reasons.
Like what? Cost.
Cost is a big one, yeah. Techniques like quantization, basically making the calculations less precise but faster, or pruning, cutting out bits of the neural network, and RAG.
RAG, we hear that a lot. Retrieval augmented generation.
Yeah. Right. Letting the AI pull in external knowledge on the fly. These things let companies get similar, sometimes even better performance for specific tasks, but with way lower computing costs.
So better results for certain things, cheaper. That sounds like progress.
It is.
And are companies wanting more control over these smaller models too?
Yeah.
Like bringing them in-house?
Exactly. Bain sees a real uptick in enterprises doing model fine-tuning themselves, taking a base model and training it more with their own data.
Tailoring it.
Precisely. And also self-hosting, running these models on their own servers. That gives you better control over privacy, security, latency, customization.
Makes sense.
But, and this is important, Bain notes this too, it brings a lot of operational complexity. Honestly, many organizations aren't quite ready for that yet. They need to build up the skills and infrastructure.
Right, it's not plug and play.
Not at all. So for you listening, the future probably looks like using a mix of different AI tools, each tailored for specific needs, rather than just one giant AI trying to do everything.
A team of specialists, not one giant brain. Okay, that leads nicely into theme 3. Agentic AI. We hear AI agents thrown around a lot. What's the reality here, according to Bain?
Well, Bain sees a pretty clear progression. We started with, basic retrieval chatbots. Then came more interactive AI assistants.
Wow.
Now we're getting into agentic AI. These are systems designed to do tasks more autonomously, think multi-step processes, making decisions along the way.
Okay, so more independent?
Potentially, yeah. But, and this is the key point from the report, fully autonomous agents working reliably at scale, that's still pretty rare.
Why is that? What's the holdup?
The main bottleneck is really evaluating their accuracy and trustworthiness. How do you know the agent is consistently doing the right thing? That's a huge concern.
Yeah, if you're letting it run loose, you need to trust it.
Yep.
So how are companies building that trust?
It really comes down to putting structure around these agents. Bain emphasizes this. Things like transparency, understanding why the agent did something. Having clear escalation paths for when it gets stuck or makes a mistake. Redundancy, so one failure doesn't break everything. Traceability, audit logs.
Right, be able to track what it did.
Exactly. And predictable behavior, you want it to act consistently. So because of all that, the pragmatic approach right now is mostly semi-autonomous systems,
Meaning?
meaning the AI agent works with a human, assisting them, augmenting what they do, but with human oversight, not full replacement, not yet.
Gotcha. Human in the loop.
Right. And you're seeing frameworks like Nvidia's Agent IQ pop up and this whole area of agent orchestration platforms, ways to build and manage these agents, sometimes built in-house.
Okay.
So the takeaway for listeners is probably, yeah, fully automated AI is cool to think about, but practical AI assistants working with people, that's what's becoming common in business now.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Augmentation, not replacement. No. Okay, next theme, number 4. Takes us into the physical world, sort of. Digital twins and simulation becoming standard tools.
Yeah, this one's interesting. Bain reports that simulation tech is moving out of the cool demo phase and becoming, well, just part of how businesses operate.
Okay.
Companies are really using digital twins now. These are dynamic virtual copies of real things, like a factory or a store or a whole supply chain.
Right, I've heard of those. Like
Yeah.
a virtual replica.
Exactly. And they use them to test out changes, new layouts, different strategies, all in the virtual world first before they touch anything real.
So like a super realistic sandbox to play in without risk.
That's a great way to put it. It means you can roll out changes faster, you catch problems early, it lowers risk, and you just make better decisions because you've essentially tried it out first.
I can see the appeal.
And Bain also mentioned a trend. Executives actually prefer doing virtual walkthroughs of these twins now, especially when they're hooked up to real-time data. It gives them a live view.
Wow. So even if you're not in manufacturing, the idea of virtual testing, modeling things out first, that's probably going to spread.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's a powerful way to de-risk decisions in almost any complex situation.
Very cool. Okay, theme 5, video. Video is the next big data set. Makes sense, there are cameras everywhere.
Absolutely everywhere. And the tech, computer vision, combined with video language models, it's changing video from just passive recording.
Like security footage you maybe watch later.
Right. Into active intelligence. AI can now analyze video in real time to understand what's happening.
Like what kind of things?
Oh, lots. Understanding customer behavior in a store. Where do they pause? What do they look at? How people interact with products on a shelf. Checking if safety rules are being followed in a factory. General security monitoring.
So it's not just recording, it's understanding the scene. How is that actually being used?
Well, Bain gives examples like retailers using these insights to change their merchandising based on what people actually look at, or optimizing staffing based on real-time customer traffic. Even redesigning store layouts for better flow. Essentially, any place with a camera becomes a rich source of data to optimize things.
Turning physical spaces into data streams.
Pretty much. So for you listening, those cameras already around. They're becoming powerful sensors, giving us data to make experiences and operations much better.
Fascinating. And maybe slightly creepy, but definitely powerful. Okay, theme 6 shifts gears a bit. It's about how companies get their AI tools. The trend is towards buying rather than building from scratch, especially for LLM ops and infrastructure.
Yeah, that's a definite shift Bain identified. We're seeing way more companies adopting off-the-shelf tools and services for managing large language models and the infrastructure they run on.
Like what kind of tools?
Things like Nvidia's DGX Cloud or their inference microservices, NIM they call it. These platforms really lower the barrier to entry for companies wanting to use serious AI.
So instead of needing a huge internal team to build and manage everything.
Right. You can use these services to get going much faster, deploying things like AI co-pilots to help employees or knowledge assistants to find information. You can do that now without building a massive internal ML operations capability first.
It makes AI more accessible.
Hugely. And even really advanced stuff like decision optimization or running complex simulations, that's becoming available on these ready-made GPU-accelerated platforms.
So for listeners, this means getting access to powerful AI is getting easier and quicker, even without deep in-house expertise.
Exactly. It's democratizing access in a big way.
Okay, that's a significant trend. Number 7 builds on simulation again. It's not just for modeling anymore, but becoming a collaboration layer.
Yeah, Bain sees simulation evolving beyond just testing things out. It's becoming a sort of shared workspace, a platform where different teams can actually work together.
How does that work?
Well, platforms like Nvidia Omniverse are a good example. They integrate with existing design tools, engineering software, operational systems,
Right.
and they let teams from, say, design, engineering, and operations all collaborate inside a shared virtual environment. They can procreate, solve problems together before anything gets built physically.
So designers and engineers working in the same virtual space, seeing the same thing.
Exactly. Imagine designers tweaking something and the manufacturing team instantly seeing the impact on the production line in the simulation. It speeds up iteration cycles enormously.
Iowa.
It improves coordination, reduces misunderstandings between teams, and just leads to faster, lower-risk decisions across the board.
So virtual collaboration is getting much more sophisticated than just video calls.
Much more. Think shared, interactive, data-rich, virtual worlds for complex projects.
That's a glimpse into the future of teamwork, maybe. Okay, theme 8. We talked about fine-tuning models getting easier.
Right.
But Bain says deploying those custom models is now the new bottleneck. Putting them into production is hard.
Yeah, this is a really crucial point. Getting a foundation model and tweaking it with your data, that part's becoming more manageable.
Okay.
But actually getting that tuned model running reliably in a live production system, handling real traffic securely, that is proving to be a major hurdle for a lot of companies.
What makes it so hard?
Well, several things, Bain points out. Optimizing the model for performance, making it fast enough for real-time use, dealing with latency, making sure it works with all the different hardware and software you already have, that can be messy. And then there's security, compliance, all the stuff you need for production systems.
So training it in the lab is one thing. Making it work reliably and securely out in the wild is another game entirely.
Completely different. Companies are realizing that production readiness needs serious internal skills. Think DevOps, security, and often requires significant investment in the right infrastructure and processes. Rigorous testing is key.
Right.
So the message here is, even with great models available, the real challenge, the differentiator, is often integrating and scaling them effectively within your actual operations.
That's a very important dose of reality.
Okay.
Okay, last one, theme 9. Multimodal AI transforming creative work. This sounds pretty exciting.
It really is. We're seeing these multimodal AI tools like Nvidia Picasso, Adobe Firefly, lots of open source models too, getting incredibly capable.
Multimodal, meaning they handle
Yep.
different types of data, text, images.
Exactly. Text, images, video, even 3D assets. And the key thing is you can use natural language prompts, just describe what you want, and these tools can generate creative assets.
So I could just type, show me a product visual of X in setting Y, and it creates it.
Pretty much, yeah. Product visuals, marketing videos, social media content, 3D models for simulations. It's becoming possible.
Wow.
And then you have platforms like Runway ML, Canva, Synthesia. They're building creative pipelines around these AI tools, making it easier for businesses to scale content creation.
What are the benefits here? Speed.
Speed is huge, yeah. Faster campaign cycles, but also hyper-personalization, creating content tailored to tiny audience segments. And it makes high-quality creative work more accessible, even for smaller teams without big design budgets.
So AI isn't just for analysis anymore, it's getting seriously creative.
Absolutely. It's shaking up creative industries, changing how content gets made and consumed. It's not just techie stuff.
Really amazing range. Okay, so wrapping this all up,
Yeah.
it feels like the big picture is AI is really growing up inside businesses, moving from experiments to like essential infrastructure.
That's a perfect summary. Bain's analysis of GTC really drives that home. AI isn't just a side project anymore. It's becoming fundamental infrastructure, woven into operations, data management, collaboration, even creative work.
Yeah.
These 9 themes we talked about, they really capture that shift, showing how deep and broad the changes are becoming. It's a snapshot of a major transformation happening right now.
It definitely feels like it. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Considering all these advances, what new possibilities could AI unlock in your field, in your organization, maybe the next few years?
Yeah.
And maybe what preparations do you need to start thinking about now to actually catch that wave, something to chew on?
Good questions.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful. Thanks for breaking it all down.
My pleasure. Lots to think about.
Absolutely. And thank you all for joining us for this deep dive.